Ro.creating. Welcome. So I got myself a shed, and that's my dog Dusty. He'll be a really good help to me over the course of this. Like, he's over there right now digging a hole. So first thing I wanted to do was I wanted to line my shed with ply. So I ended up getting myself little lengths of 2x1.5. It's all rough, it's all cheap. Cut a little notch in the top, hooked it underneath the shed, the sort of framework of the shed, and basically attached it in. Took all my measurements here from the central rail. So basically once I had the center in, I could then go up vertical afterwards, and I can go down vertical, and everything kind of works from the center rail. Just kind of simplified it. They were spaced so that every third rail would have a half a sheet hanging over it. So again, you get your verticals. It's important. The reason I got 2x1.5 is because the 2-inch stuck out proud a little bit, so any screws or overlaps of the framework of the shed or anything would all be sort of hidden underneath the finished level of the ply. It's very important that you keep everything nice and plumb, because the sheets are going to be buttoned up against each other, and yeah, you don't want gaps. So again, tops first, then the bottom. Screw in the middle rail part, keep it vertical, screw it into the bottom. So now all that framework was done, all that was left to do then was basically get my plywood, cut it to height. I used eucalyptus ply. First time ever using it. It was cheap. Not the best plywood in the world, but in fairness, it looks nice. One side of it looks nice, and as I said, it's cheap. So cut it to height. Throw in a few screws. Just screw, screw, screw. Now I'm using screws on this side because I really wanted to have strength. Because what I'm planning on doing afterwards is covering over all those lines of screws with basically the rails I'm going to be hanging all my wood off. So as you can see, I have a laser line too, and man, if you don't have a laser line, get a laser line. They are so handy. As you work around little objects, you mark them and cut them as you go. Like I always say, start left, end right. Little multi-tools, great tools. Make so many jobs easy. Start left, finish right, and you get nice snug fits. Happy days. It's time to get started on the brackets then. So my idea here was I had the sort of slot brackets, and I wanted to extend them. So I got loads of offcuts of 2x1.5, cut them to length, and then what I wanted to do was take a little splay angle at the top of them, in around 60 degrees. And the reason I took that little splay off is basically once you get your rail and bracket, they have to hook down and in order to be placed in. So you can't have a square cut piece of wood on top because you won't be able to get it in. So by taking a little angled splay off it, you're able to accommodate for that. Then it was just a case of getting all my lengths of what would be my brackets and getting all my what were my brackets and putting piece A with piece B. So lay them out, and it's important that they're faced the right way. Nearly fell for that one there. First thing I had to do then was basically bolt the piece of wood onto the existing bracket. For that I just lined up the bracket with the piece of wood, drilled 2 holes that would accommodate the bolts I'm using, make sure they're drilled through, and continue and rinse and repeat. After that, got myself an auger bit, and I just I needed to accommodate the head of the bolt. I wanted that to be underneath the surface of that length of wood, so that wood wouldn't be rubbing off it or sitting on it unsteadily. So just rough and ready, it's a wood store, it's not going to be getting any marks for presentation. So all that was done, and the head of the bolt was accommodated underneath the level of the wood. Get your nuts, screw them down, and again just repeat for the whole lot of them. Tighten them really hard at the end, get them good and tight. And apologies for the camera work here, it's not very good. No, I didn't mind the back bolt, but the front one I didn't want that big length sticking down, so just grabbed the angle grinder and just knocked all them off. Yeah, I didn't want them getting in the way from when I was storing my wood. Got my rasp, or my surf arm, and just nice and rough and ready, just kind of rounded the edges a little bit. Again, when you're using this thing, I didn't want these little splinters finding their way into my hands. Just knocking off the corners gets rid of that problem. I made these little stop ends that I wanted to put at the end of each of those lengths of wood. It would have a little lip sticking up, and my thinking here was that's just going to stop any wood rolling off, or at least hinder wood rolling off. So just got some 2x1, cut little lengths of it, made sure it was higher than 1.5 inches, or little 2-inch-by-2-inch blocks here, and they're going to be attached onto the top of the wood afterwards. So just a little dollop of glue. Put it onto your wood, and bang, bang, bang. Got my rasp here again. I just kind of wanted to marry those two little pieces together, kind of subtly, just, so there wouldn't be any little edges sticking out. Because the next step was kind of simple. Got a spray paint, covered the whole lot in primer, and then covered the whole lot in black paint. I sprayed everything. I sprayed the rails, the brackets, the 2x1.5 lengths that I was going to put behind. Everything was sprayed black. Kind of made my mind up with this, that black is a great colour because it hides so many things. It looks awesome, so why not just spray it all black? Now for assembly, construction glue, just a little bead in the back. And they go in and they're put over the lines of screws. Now I know that there's a length of wood behind those screws, so once I get them in place, I'm going to throw a couple of really long screws into that. So now if you think about it, you have a length of black 2x1.5 outside, a sheet of 1/2 inch plywood, and then another full length of 2x1.5 behind. So it's, and the one behind is locked into the framework of the shed, and that's going to give you strength. No need to be too accurate here. All you're doing is covering the screws. It's important you're vertical though, even just for aesthetics. So the trick you do here is put in the top one, get your level, get it level, and then send it home. Lovely. So next step then was to get the rails up. And for this I got my laser line, and when I was putting up the rails I basically lined up the very top of, I think it was the 3rd slot on each one. Just screw that in place, and once that row of them is in line, they're all in line. Keep it simple. Now in regards to what I was going to do once I started putting my brackets up, frankly I didn't have a clue. I had a rough idea. I wanted to put long lengths up on top, and that's kind of it. I knew at this stage that it is going to just be trial and error until I get what I like. Sometimes more error than trial. And I stumbled upon a solution that all my 8-foot lengths would go on the left hand side, all my short boards, my nice woods would go on the right hand side on narrower shelves. So it gives me a lot of options that way. And I also wanted to keep that pallet, I wanted to keep that underneath there because that's for working outside. I put it up in trestles and it's near the back door, so happy days. One thing that I've always found very hard to store has been mouldings. So I had a bit of space there, had a few short brackets, had an 8-inch sheet of melamite, put it up there. Now, perfect. Put all my mouldings on top of that, store them horizontal. And they're kind of out of the way there. And like I said, it's just at this stage pure trial and error, just trying things. And eventually you'll just get a solution. And no doubt this is all going to change over time, but that's the beauty of it. This you can change anytime, any way, to accommodate whatever you want. That's the beauty of these brackets. Thanks, Dusty, you were a great help.
So I am done. I have my planks, I have my 2x4s, and my 2x2s, I have all my bits and pieces, my teak, my mahogany, my Oroka, my everything. It's all on one wall. And that is the first thing that I wanted to do since I came into this shed, is get my materials stored. And now I can start looking at the rest of it and actually start making my workstations and all the rest of it. Now I have the place where I'm keeping the stuff that I'm going to make the other stuff. I have it sorted, so I'm delighted. I really hope you enjoyed. I really hope you tolerated. Thank you for watching. I really do appreciate it. I would thoroughly appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. And I'll see you again. That's all I want to say. I like this. I want to do this more. And I want to show you how I can create. This place to me is very special. It's special for me. And I hope I can show you how to make a place special for you, or help you make a place that's special for you. And the last thing I want to say to you is, it was Halloween 2 days ago, and I got a mohawk. My mother is disgusted, but I got a mohawk and I think I like a mohawk. So come here, me, Dusty, up. Come on, up. Show them. Thank you for watching. Do appreciate it. See you again.